Uncle Roger was up all night making this filling, and each of these pans weighs 20 pounds. And we have 7
so
of this
80
pan.
pounds of
Uncle Roger been making this for the last
now.
3 days. Uncle Nick kidnapped me.
I mean, I can tell you right now, this is not going to be very delicious. Depending on which part of the pierogi that you get when you're served, it's either going to be all dough or all potato.
Somebody save me, please. I want to see my family.
Chef Brian Tsao here, not your typical chef, and today I'm going to be reacting to Nick Di Giovanni's world's largest dumpling featuring Uncle Roger. Before I go on with today's episode, I do want to give a special shout out to my newest sous chef level patrons, John Masnari, Lily Gingertail, Sean Dux, and Rowan Tree of Knowledge. Guys, thank you so much for your support, and without further ado, on to the episode.
This is the largest dumpling in the world.
Crap.
Uncle Roger and Uncle...
I lived in Beijing. I know I stopped the video super early, but I lived in Beijing. You know, they're very well known for their dumplings, their noodles, pancakes, and stuff like that. I have eaten a lot of dumplings in my day. Dumplings are one of my favorite foods, but you know, now that I realized it, they never... It wasn't about the size of the dumpling. It was more about the, you know, the filling or the different colored skins. Yeah, I lived there for 6 years. I don't think I've ever seen a dumpling bigger than this, you know?
Gonna show you all how to make this, and also the world's largest fortune cookie to go with it.
Okay.
And especially if you're a subscriber, you might want to stick around to see what's inside the fortune. Step, we're gonna make our dough. To begin, we're gonna dump down a bunch of flour in the center of our work surface. Lots and lots of flour. So much white powder. Does this look familiar to you? Is this your Saturday night? To start this out, we're gonna make a nice giant well in the middle of the flour. And in this bowl, we have boiling water. Pinch of salt. Uncle Nick, I think your salt pan very cool, but it's too many different types. Pumpkin spice, Spanish rosemary, flaky pink roasted garlic. Hiya, this is the whitest thing Uncle Roger ever see. You just need MSG. Hiya. You're putting pumpkin spice salt? Yeah, it's the fall season.
Well, I've had pumpkin dumplings before, and it's like almost like, you know, like a butternut squash or pumpkin ravioli, you know, same principle. The dough's been colored in, you know, an orange color, and then it's filled with, you know, a pumpkin puree. Oh, it is so good. It's not commonly found. You usually have to go to a restaurant that like specializes in serving several varieties of dumplings, and they are divine. I love those types of restaurants. But yeah, I could totally see pumpkin spice working in a dumpling dough if you were making pumpkin or like butternut squash dumplings. Hey everyone, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Factor. It's a new year, you've got new goals, and guess what? Factor is there to help you achieve each and every one of them. Save time, save energy, save the hassle by using Factor's ready-to-eat meals, because you got more important things to do. You have a to-do list, don't you? You have goals to achieve. You have resolutions that you need to keep, and guess what? Factor's there to help you achieve it. No matter your lifestyle or your dietary preferences, Factor has got you covered, because whether it's keto, vegan, vegetarian, high protein, calorie smart, whatever you need, they got you covered. It's made by professional chefs, but most importantly, also approved by dietitians. So for me personally, Factor works out on so many levels. You know, the time that I save not having to go to the grocery store, the fact that the meals are ready to go at any time, they warm up in minutes, it's faster than takeout, not to mention healthier. And speaking of healthier, you know, now that I found out that I'm pre-diabetic, I have been going with low-carb meals, and I can set that on the website very easily. And because of that, Factor's been making it easier to stick to my goals. And honestly, you don't have to have a crazy schedule like me to enjoy the benefits of what Factor has to offer. And I absolutely love this service, but I genuinely also think you will too. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code CHEFBT60 to get 60% off of your first Factor box.
When we're doing something like this or making pasta dough, we have to make sure that the well on the outside doesn't break, or all the water leaks out, and it's a huge mess. If the water leak out.
And they said they used hot water. So I used to make scallion pancakes for a past restaurant. I got the recipe from an auntie who lives out in Vegas, and she said you have to use hot water. And honestly, I never researched the why. I know it obviously will change change the flour and the final dough product. But if you guys know, let me know in the comments. I have no shame in saying when I don't know something. Been doing this for nearly 2 decades and I'm still learning stuff. So if you know the specific reason of like what happens to the flour when you add in hot water while forming the dough versus cooking it, because we all know what happens when you cook it. Very curious to find out, so let me know. But as far as like mixing a dumpling dough, whether you're using hot or cold water, you know, when you're doing it in a well, you know, separate the center and pour in the water and slowly incorporate the water in, turning it into a dough. That's very classic. Nick is spot on. In fact, making a dough was one of the first things I ever cooked when I was like 5 years old, when I was left home alone, and I'm so shocked that the house didn't burn down. But little side story, I was watching Julia Child. She was making bread and she put out some flour on a table and mixed it in. I took that, I did the same thing, and I made a dough, popped it in the oven and baked it, and it actually rose and leavened. It was nice and fluffy. I couldn't figure out years later, after I became a professional chef, how did that work, because there was no yeast, only to realize when I was walking down the supermarket aisles and I was like, oh, and I saw it. It was Aunt Jemima's self-rising flour. That is why the dough leavened and it was nice and fluffy and soft. But yeah, 5-year-old making bread at home, gas stove, being left alone while my parents were. I'm so shocked that I didn't burn down the house.
Feel how nice that is. Why are you stroking my hand more than the dough?
I don't know, Uncle Roger feeling lonely today. Woman, just stay single and fondle your flour.
The next step, we have to flour our work surface. See the technique.
Ooh. What technique? You just sprinkle on counter.
Whew.
Okay. Obviously, they didn't show the beginning from beginning. They didn't show the process from beginning to end. So when I lived in Beijing, I had to learn how to make dumplings because it was one of my favorite things to eat. And every single auntie that I asked, or ayi that I asked, they had no recipe. They were just like, you put it into a bowl and you mix it until all the flour is taken up by the dough. And that's literally, on the rare occasion I do make dumplings from scratch, that's still how I do it to this day. The dough is as loose as you can get it, but still able to cleanly take everything from the bowl that you're mixing it in, or the tabletop that you're mixing it on. I guess I have to figure out the exact measurement one day. I actually did a video on dumpling making for, I think, forkandplate.com, something like that. Put the link here or here. I think it's here. I think it's there. Yeah, okay, anyway.
So the next step is really just to shape out this dough ball. Make sure that it's perfectly sort of ready to be rolled out.
Uncle Nick, stop spanking everything. This dough ball, not your girlfriend. Now that our dough ball ready to roll, we get the world's biggest rolling pin for you. Don't let my mom see this.
That's pretty
She's gonna
clever.
beat me up with this.
Oh, but I didn't think about that. You are gonna have to roll it out. Need a giant rolling pin.
This dumpling has to be at least 150 pounds to get the world record, and that means we need a lot of dough.
Uncle Roger, can't wait to show niece and nephew what I put in my filling. Got special ingredients.
The dough, after you mix it, it has gluten, and when you agitate the gluten, the dough gets stiff and it needs time to relax. So the gluten relaxes and then you can stretch it out. I don't know if he mentioned it, maybe he did. I was babbling on, but yeah, after you mix the dough, let it rest about an hour, and then it's a lot easier to work with and a lot easier to roll out, which looks like they did.
Oh my gosh, it's working. Getting to roll out a piece of dough this big is not easy.
Nope. For something like this, you're gonna want to use, they're doing it at their home, so he's not gonna be able to fit a dough sheeter, like a giant sized dough sheeter. But the way to go about this is to use a dough sheeter, which is a machine. You can set it, these 2 rolling pins, I guess, for ease of description. I don't know the technical terms, but it has these 2 rolling pins, and then there's a belt that moves the dough back and forth. And that's a quick and easy way to sheet out dough very quickly. And that would make it a lot more consistent and 10 times easier, but those machines are extremely expensive. And I don't expect someone to have one of those at their home. I mean, when I used a dough sheeter, was in a pastry factory, so.
This is the official Guinness World Record for the largest edible single pierogi dumpling.
Guinness World Record.
Pierogi dumpling, oh, okay. This entire time I thought, wait, pierogi dumpling or Chinese dumpling? I mean, why would you have Uncle Roger make a pierogi? Even though if he had a Chinese dumpling, it's kind of racist. Is it? Who cares, man? It's just fucking content. Anyway.
For the purposes of this attempt, the ingredients must include flour, eggs, and a filling with at least 2 ingredients.
Just 2? That's too easy, nephew, auntie. Uncle Roger used way more than 2.
The dumpling has to be prepared in a traditional manner and formed into a semicircular shape.
Okay, easy, no problem.
And as with every Guinness World Records title, the food has to be distributed for human consumption afterwards.
Does this have to be edible, nephew, auntie?
It does.
Technically, every food edible. It's just some food will give you diarrhea.
Well, there's a food safety expert, Dennis, who's on site to make sure this dumpling will be safe to eat.
Once our dough is all rolled out, I'm gonna set that off to the side, and at this point we have to layer down our whole base of our steamer.
We have to build special custom steamer because this dumpling's so big, this regular steamer like this not gonna work. Hiya.
True, yeah.
After this, we're gonna layer out
How
all
they gonna
these
do
sheets
is
of
pull that
parchment
off?
paper, which is basically gonna help to make sure we have a non-stick surface so this whole dumpling can actually be taken off after and served to everybody.
Why your parchment paper cut already? You're too lazy to cut your own parchment paper. Hiya.
Now is the exciting part. Time to actually layer down our dumpling.
Careful, careful, careful.
We have to carefully lay this all out on the base of our steamer, and it looks like Uncle Roger didn't put enough flour between some of the parts of it when he rolled it out.
What? Don't blame me. Hiya. Uncle Roger like your cameraman Manny. They both have the same haircut. They both got haircut from same barber. This is Uncle Roger's special dumpling filling. Cabbage, egg, potato, everything in there, and we have the special ingredient. MSG fuyo.
All right, so they are making a pierogi. It's being filled with potato. I haven't had a potato-filled dumpling while I was living in China. Whenever someone says dumpling, I just automatically assume a Chinese-style dumpling. But I will say, for the purposes of making a world record giant-sized pierogi dumpling, you know, mashed potato is the way to go, because if you used pork, number one, 150-pound dumpling filled with ground pork, their skin is gonna have to be like this thick to contain all the juices that would come out from what would be like a minimum of like, what, 30 to 40 pounds of ground pork. It's also a lot safer because they did say this has to be consumed, it has to be served to people after you make it. You will have a lot less of a chance of having something go wrong, any type of spoilage with mashed potato versus a raw ground pork. And the reason being is that you know, the raw ground pork, when you're working with such a large item in a home kitchen and you don't really have the tools to make this, right? You're doing this crazy attempt, you have to jerry rig everything or you have to custom make everything. Everything's just gonna take a lot more time, and the more time that raw meat sits out, the greater chances of developing basically issues that are gonna give you diarrhea, right? So I think that was a smart move, you know, to go with mashed potato, a pierogi versus a Chinese style, you know, traditional chive and pork dumpling, although that would have been pretty cool.
And some nice salt in here as well. It can't just be MSG. You rely too heavily on MSG.
No, I don't. No such thing.
Go, at this point, we're just putting...
Oh no, you f***ed up. Hiya. Fingers crossed. Not bad, not bad.
As we layer up this whole filling, it's gonna crack a little bit, so we wanna make sure to dip our hands in some warm water so that we can sort of soften out those potatoes and fill in all those cracks.
Okay,
Like building sandcastle.
Do you like building sandcastles?
Yeah, it's the best thing. Because you build the sandcastle and then you can destroy it, and then I feel like Godzilla.
Uncle Roger was up all night making this filling, and each of these pans weighs 20 pounds.
And we have 7
so
of this
80
pan.
pounds of
Uncle Roger
just
been making this for the
right
last
now.
3 days. Uncle Nick kidnapped me.
I mean, I can tell you right now, this is not gonna be very delicious. Depending on which part of the pierogi that you get when you're served, it's either gonna be all dough or all potato.
Somebody save me, please. I want to see my family.
Now that we've got it all stacked up, the rest of our filling is in sort of a mashed potato-like consistency so that we can really mold all around everything.
Oh my
Make sure that this nice big mound holds really strong when we go to steam it.
This thing has to be very sturdy when we steam it. Otherwise, nephew Andy, he's gonna come here for nothing.
I'm sorry, Andy.
No, I love it.
And just so we're eligible for world record, I'm gonna prove that it's edible. Okay, the food inspector right there, camera, look at that. I'm using spoon for hygiene purposes. See? See? Still alive? And now we layer on the top.
We have to be extremely
top
gentle
piece.
at this point, because if this breaks or tears while we're layering it on top, this whole thing's over.
If you break this, the whole world record gone.
I mean, that's really hard to work with, man. A dough that size, you know, you don't have the sheet trays. You know, sheet trays are normally like this big. Use your imagination, right? But for a pierogi this... But they were doing it right. You have to fold it over. It looks like, just from the appearance, that they didn't put enough flour when they were folding it onto each other. Again, it's just the challenges of recording this stuff out of your own home. One of the main reasons why I don't do more cooking videos right now, number one, it's very time consuming, but just, you know, the preparation and the cleanup afterwards, I just don't have the time while I'm running missions, so.
Now we have to carefully go around the entire dumpling and mold this dough over the top so it gives a really nice shape around the dumpling. It almost reminds me of working with fondant and a cake.
This reminds me of Play-Doh.
I love Play-Doh
also.
I love Play-Doh. It's edible.
Have you eaten Play-Doh?
Yeah, I think they're just kind of rubbing it down for camera right now. It's not really necessary. But you saw Nick trying to like pull over that edge. I really do think the dough was folded onto itself and there was not enough flour, so now it's sticking. Maybe off camera they're gonna make another piece to patch it up. Maybe they have additional pieces.
Now it is time to make the dumpling look nice and pretty.
And to do that, we have to make the whole thing wet.
Making it soaking wet.
Working with two teenagers here.
Once it's nice and wet, we're gonna roll this up and over the side
so
to give it that
dough.
really nice classic dumpling look. It's starting to look like a dumpling.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely use several sheets of dough. You can even see the indentations from, you know, that first piece. But listen, this is about making the largest dumpling. There's nothing about making the largest, prettiest, perfectly executed dumpling. I mean, not even I am gonna be able to execute it perfectly at that size. So respect, respect.
But we still have to cook it.
Let's bring it to steamer. 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh my gosh, it's heavy. It's heavy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We better get this world right.
Can they even get it out the door?
Uncle Roger doing manual labor for you. Whew. We move dumpling over, and now we can steam.
Is it on the carpet? Oh no, that's not a carpet floor. You saw freaked out.
This right here is our giant lid for the steamer.
They're doing
We're
it
gonna
in the living
lift
room?
this box over the dumpling.
Wow, is this a home studio or like, dude, if I ever did this at my house, my wife would fucking kill me. That's another reason why I don't do as many cooking videos. My wife would drive my wife nuts afterwards. I'd be like, I cleaned it up, and she's like, it's not clean enough. It's not clean enough, Brian.
Fit it over the base.
Oh, whoa. Perfect fit. Now the steam coming in from this machine.
Yeah, this definitely must be a place he rents out to do this video production. It doesn't look like his home. And if it is, then holy shit.
All the way into this special box.
Then it'll get nice and steamy inside, which hopefully will cook the dumpling.
Which is, what's so crazy is they're doing this in the middle of the living room, so to speak, or wherever, right? And there's gonna be all this steam going into it and there's no ventilation unless they have fans on or something like that. Yeah, I'm just thinking about all the things that could go wrong. Like, dude, I know he's done a few of these, right? A few of these largest whatever food item. Yeah, that's no easy feat. That's a lot of work. A lot of work.
Uncle Roger gonna put my fortune cookie recipe on screen right now. Take a screenshot if you want to use it.
Before we can open this fortune cookie and redo the fortune inside, we actually need to weigh it. The great thing is we've got Kenny back with us, who weighed our cake pop a long time ago. Let's see. That's
We done making fortune cookie now, and this the moment of truth. What the dumpling gonna be like? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, whoa!
Leo!
Whoa!
Oh, oh no!
Oh no!
Swear the judge, don't look at this. Go away. Conductor nephew, you didn't see this?
That does not look like a dumpling.
But you know, if you squint really hard and imagine, it kind of still look like dumpling.
I think I can pretty much tell you what happened is they jerry-rigged this steam box. It's trapping in so much moisture, and don't forget, this is such a heavy dough. You know, it's steaming. It trapped so much moisture. The dough softened so much before it can cook and solidify that the dough just broke due to the weight, due to its own weight, really. Yeah, man, that's heartbreaking. Shit, after all that work, I feel just cooking all those potatoes, man. I feel so bad for them.
Conductor nephew, what do you think?
Per the Guinness World Records guidelines, it needs to appear like a scaled up version of a smaller pierogi, and unfortunately it does not.
This like pierogi after someone take a few bites.
In all seriousness, I wanted to cry here, but I thought it would make fun of me. Yep. So Jordan has the picture that we took when Nigel was in town. So Jordan happened to be in town. Jordan, the editor. Jordan, show your lovely face for a quick second there. Jordan, the editor, was in town from the UK. Nigel was in town, and so was his producer, Matt, and Matt's wife, Gemma. Nigel's rough, man. He just says it like it fucking is. He has no filter between his brain and his mouth, and he will roast you every opportunity he gets. And it's not like he's putting on an act. That's just him. It was so much fun. We had such a great time at dinner, and then we got sake afterwards, and I was massively hungover the next day. But besides that, yeah, Nick's fear is legit.
I cannot award this to you guys today. Doesn't meet the criteria. Hopefully you guys have better luck with the fortune cookie.
This sucks. It's worse than my divorce. After that crushing defeat with the dumpling.
I love that they still showed the failure of it. I mean, how are you gonna not post about it after going through all that work? But yeah, that is heartbreaking. I feel really bad for these guys. But going back to the cookery or the steaming of the dumpling, that just shows you, you know, you have to cook that dough at a fast enough of a rate where, again, so that the dough itself cooks and solidifies more and holds its shape, because while it's a dough, it's just gonna keep absorbing moisture, and again, under its own weight, it just, due to gravity, just broke. And fuck, did they have to throw all that out? Everything, I mean, so heartbreaking.
It's okay, Uncle Nick. We can't win
so
everything.
broken.
But hopefully this one, we can get the world record for this one.
Unfortunately, I can't award the Guinness World Records title until I see that it has a 2-scale fortune.
Oh. Okay, so that means it's time to break it open and read what's inside.
Uncle Nick, I hope you remember to put fortune inside.
Oh, that's not like a crispy fortune cookie. You know, it should just crack open. But hey, they've been through enough suffering today. Let me not shit on this one.
Yes, there's a fortune. Lucky number 69. I know who come up with this. Uncle Nick always come up with this kind of stuff. And then the fortune. One random subscriber about to win $10,000.
Oh, sick.
You're giving 10,000 to your subscriber.
You are.
Me? No, coming out your pocket. You're not even paying me to be here. You try to take my money. So you're paying your subscriber 10,000, and you're not paying me to be here?
Pretty much.
Flow Shoe Uncle Roger won half that money.
All right, now that I've seen the fortune, I can confirm this met all the points in our official Guinness World Records guidelines. Kenny, I can now accept your weight. The record to beat was 2.756 pounds. Uncle Roger, Chef Nick, you achieved 3.24 pounds. Congratulations, it's a new Guinness World Records title.
Right. Nice. Oh, well, at least we got one. I didn't come all the way here for nothing.
Man, that's a lot of work to not get a record, but clearly they knew something could go wrong, so they had a backup plan. With that said, what did you guys think? Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. And remember, don't be afraid to fail, because it can only make you stronger. And with that said, I am Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef, and I'll see you really soon.